We just don't eat. And that's all. We don't afflict our soul. We don't afflict our body. We don't punish our body. You know? Why? Because we're still praying. He says here, I'm sorry. In fact, in the day of your fast, you find pleasure. Let me get it from another version. I got this version here, and it says it like really like plain, you know. I'm gonna go with the NTL, and it says here, we have fasted before you. They say, why aren't you impressed? We have been very hard on ourselves, and God, you don't even notice it. I will tell you why, God says, I respond. It's because you are fasting to please yourselves. Even while you fast, you keep oppressing your workers. What good is fasting when you keep on fighting and keep on quarreling? This kind of fasting will never get you anywhere with me. You humble yourselves by going through the motions of penance, bowing your head like reeds and bending in the wind. You dress in burlap and cover yourself with ashes. Is this what you call fasting? Do you really think this will please the Lord? No. This is the kind of fasting I want. Free those who are wrongly imprisoned. Lighten the burden of those who work for you. Let the oppressed go free and remove the chains that bind the people. Share your food with hungry. That got me. You know what? When we fast, we are to give to others the very thing we're denying our own flesh. Good God Almighty. And look what he says here in verse 8. Then your salvation will come like dawn, and your wounds will quickly heal, and your godliness will lead forward, and the glory of the Lord will protect you from behind. And when you call on the Lord, and when you call, the Lord will answer. Yes, I am here. He will come quickly. I said, wow. And when I read that, it literally broke my heart, because that was me. When I was fasting, I was doing everything that I set no time aside for God. My focus was on the traditional religious aspect of fasting, was just not eating. And these people said, well, we didn't eat. And he says here in verse 4, indeed, you fast for strife and debate, to strike with the fist of wickedness. You will not fast as you do in this day to make your voice heard on high. Is it a fast that I have chosen, a day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head like a bulrush, to spread out in sackcloth and ashes? Is that what fasting is all about? No. Would you call this a fast? No. Verse 6. Is this not the fast that I have chosen? To loose the binds of wickedness. That's what fasting does. It looses the binds of wickedness. You got family members that are caught in sin. Not only do we fast for ourselves for understanding, but we fast for them, to loose the bind of wickedness that are on them, to undo the heavy burdens of others, to let the oppressed go free. Look how fast is all about others. I mean, this just really just blew my mind. And that you break every yoke. Is it not to share your bread with the hungry? Fasting is more than me not eating. Fasting also involves some physicality here. It involves me praying so that the bonds of wickedness can be loosed. It involves me praying so that the heavy burdens can be undone. It involves me praying so that the oppressed can go free. It involves me praying so that every yoke can be broken. It involves me sharing my food with others who are hungry. And it involves me to bring and pour to my house who are cast out. It involves me clothing the naked. All this is part of fasting. And it literally blew my mind, because when I was fasting, all I was doing was I was praying silently, but I didn't set no time for God. I didn't find no private place to cry out. I didn't find no private place to mourn. And I know, Pastor, what if you got to work? Well, sometimes you got to work, but sometime during that day, you need to find a place where you can get alone with God and have some time to cry out during that fast. And even when you work, you can pray. You don't have to, but you don't have to be on the fast and sit there and watch 8 hours of TV or find pleasure in other things. Fasting is not a time for pleasure. It's not a time for us to go visit relatives. No, that's not the time for it. unless I'm doing some of these acts of bringing them food, or I'm doing something that the Bible calls for me to do. But fasting is a time for me to get along with God and afflict my body and afflict my soul and cry out to God. And then the Holy Spirit will give me instruction on where to go, who to help, who to give, what to give, how much to bless. I mean, through fasting, and I kid you not, I was fasting today and praying, and God just started putting people on my mind, and I just start crying out for them. People that I know who are not saved. I just began to cry out, And then I got this picture as I was fasting and praying today. I got this picture of some kind of heart monitor. It was going crazy. It was going real crazy. And I just started praying, Lord, whoever heart monitor is going AY right now, Lord, if they're about to die, I ask you right now to just preserve their life. I just begin to pray. I don't got no faces. I just seen this picture of a heart machine just going haywire. And I just begin to pray, whoever it is, God. Whoever it is, And so God will bring things, and the Holy Spirit will bring things and images and people, faces into your mind, and you begin to pray, I begin to pray for my grandchildren. My sons and daughters came into, I could see their faces, and I begin to cry out for them, that some of them will turn their hearts back to God. I begin to cry out for some of my family members who I know are not saved. I begin to cry out for them that God, that you would loose the bonds of wickedness, and that you would set them free, and that you would give them an opportunity that they would cry out unto the Lord. For you say, whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. I begin to cry out for others. This is what prayer and fasting is all about. External fasts are useless if the relationship with God has been lost. You can fast all you want, but if your relationship with God is broken, then it's just not going to help. Praying and fasting allows you to humble yourselves. The Bible says, humble yourself under the mighty hand of God. Praying and fasting. Matter of fact, turn with me to Ezra. Nehemiah, Ezra, and I think it's Ezra 8. I need me a new Bible for some of my stuff. It got wet. It got soda up on this stuff. So we understand this, that, come on. Praying, it humbles you before the mighty hand of God. It breaks you down. It actually humbles you and brings you. Yeah, this thing is jacked up. This thing is messed up. Let me just go here. It brings you into the mighty hand of God. Let me see where Ezra at. Okay, here we go. Ezra. And we got, Ezra 8. Okay, let's look at Ezra 8 and 20 and 21. And let me go to another version here. I don't really like that one. Then I proclaim a fast at the river of Hava, and that we might humble ourselves before our God, and seek from Him the right way. So we see here that fasting, it humbles you. It brings you low and exalts God up, and that's what fasting doing. Now watch this. You can pray, like I said before, you can pray without fasting, but you cannot fast and not spend time praying, because fasting and praying go together. Praying, fasting and prayer for the needs and the healings of others. That's what fasting does. When we fast and pray, we also fast for the needs and the healing of others. Turn with me to Psalms. Psalms, I don't know what happened to Nehemiah. That page probably stuck. I wait something on here. Yeah. But anyway, we'll get that later. I'll fix that. Why I say Psalms what? Psalms 35. Okay, Psalms 35, and let's look at verses 13. Keep your tongue from evil, and your lips from speaking deceit. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace. And no, that's Psalms 34. I'm sorry. Psalms 35. But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled myself with fasting, and my prayer would return to my own heart. I paced about as though he were my friend or my brother. I bowed down heavily as one who mourns his mother. I'm going to read that from another version that I think says it a little better. I read it from the New Living Translation. I like it because it says it just a little better. Psalm 35. And we look at verses 13. It says here, yet when they were ill, I grieved for them. I denied myself by fasting for them. But my prayers returned unanswered. I was sad, as though they were my friends or my family, as if I were grieving my own mother. But they are glad now that I am in trouble. So we see that prayer and fasting also is when you start to pray and fast for others. Fasting helps us to see our need for God, His strength, His wisdom, His power, His love, and His grace. When should you fast? When you are seeking direction of the Lord, when you have not received an answer to your prayer, for deliverance, a breakthrough for yourself or others, breaking free of bondage, or on behalf of a friend who was under a heavy burden, or just to enjoy the presence of the Lord. So I pray that you have a better understanding. This is wrong with the Bible. I pray you have a better understanding of what fasting is and what fasting isn't, and that you really, when you embark on fasting, that you set some valuable time, aside, that you may fast. I mean, that you may pray. Because again, you can pray without fasting, but you should never fast without praying. And you should avoid pleasures, TV, basketball games.